Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Talk Advocacy. To me, we're so excited to be here with you. Our guest of honor today is Cassie Snead. Cassie,
Hi.
who has all the Christmas vibes going on behind her,
All
which
of
is
them.
lovely. I'm going to intro you, Cassie, and then I will let you just say a few words about yourself and something you want everyone to know about you. But Cassie is the Senior Manager of Customer Marketing at Reputation. She is the winner of the 2023 CAP Award for Advocate Engagement. So what a great award program. Am I right, Cassie?
Oh my gosh, I felt like on cloud nine after that award for like a good solid month. So that was such a highlight. Yes.
And yes, we force our guests to talk good about us while they are on here. She's also a Customer Marketing Wants to Watch nominee from CMA. Cassie, we love your energy. You always bring if you're listening to this, you can't see Cassie's face, but she has just so much positive energy oozing out of her. She is a trailblazer for customer marketing, very passionate about instilling customer obsessed culture. Career highlights, I'm just going to name a few here, is developing award-winning customer marketing campaigns for global brands and leading cross-functional teams to deliver exceptional customer experiences. And today, we are going to be talking about one specific skill set that Cassie has exhibited, and that is having to do with reviews. We're going to talk about how to take your customer review strategy from blasé to brilliant. So no pressure, Cassie. Just a small amount of expertise we're expecting from you today. But honestly, guys, we cannot talk about reviews enough. Obviously, most people in customer marketing and advocacy are tasked with sourcing customer reviews. It is really hard to keep it from not getting stale, to not asking the same thing over and over from your customers, to not be getting internal pressure constantly, more reviews, figuring out how to measure the impact of those reviews, which is a whole other thing. So, Cassie, thank you so much for being here. What do you want people to know about you before we dive into this discussion?
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for that incredible intro. That was very, you lifted me up even more than the award. That's amazing. But yes, thank you so much for having me. I would say within my entire career, I have always been in positions that are there to improve the customer experience. And I started as a customer success manager, being on the front line with my own book of business. And then I continue to scale that customer experience into bigger programs, starting from just the customer success team all the way up to building up customer programs for larger brands and now getting to own the customer marketing strategy at Reputation. And I think where I really had an edge on my side, if you will, is that at Reputation, we are all about customer feedback. Reputation itself aggregates all customer feedback and analyzes it to provide insights for different customers. So we live and breathe reviews on its own just as a company. So I think I had a really great insight and a really great edge to really build up that review strategy. I had a lot of players on my side, which made it so much easier and so helpful. So I'm hoping to share some of those insights and how to get that team on your side today with all of our listeners.
Brilliant. As always, we have Deena Zenyk here as a co-host.
Hello.
So simple.
Hi. Hello.
And so we will be digging into Cassie's expertise in this field. And Cassie, I do want to start on why reviews. I know everyone is tasked with getting them, but beyond, okay, someone might stumble on a review and read it. Why? What's the bigger why behind reviews in your opinion?
I am so glad you asked that. And I'm going to twist the question back to you a little bit of, did you look in the mirror this morning when you got ready before your workday started?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did. Absolutely.
So why did you look in the mirror?
Oh, gosh. Well, just to make sure we're presentable today, Cassie. I mean,
Exactly.
I'm going to keep it real. I mean,
yeah.
It's podcast day. Got to look in the mirror.
Right. Well, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, you look in the mirror to get that true reflection of yourself, right? And if you think about it, that's what reviews are for a company. It's a true reflection of what they're trying to put out there. Brands spend astronomical amounts of money on putting a certain persona, a certain voice out there, But reviews are going to be that true reflection of if your customers are seeing yourself the same way you want to be presented. So you want to make sure you're looking at reviews to ensure that your marketing, your brand is really what's being provided for your customers. And so I would say from that perspective, that's the biggest why. Is you want to make sure you're delivering what you're saying you're delivering as a company, and that's going to drive success.
I love that. I love that. I love the way that you've framed that. I will say in some of the work that we do with clients, that's not necessarily the sentiment when it comes to reviews when we're working with clients. It is about big logos hitting the all of the right critical measures to place on certain reports.
Sure.
And not so much thinking about, how are we showing up and is that resonating? So my customer marketer heart beats for you.
I think it's curious you say that, because I'm almost wondering what the persona is you're working for. Because I think what you just shared is a very typical sentiment from a marketing persona. Because yes, our marketing teams, they want to be ranking really high. They want to get those certain badges from a marketing collateral standpoint. If you think about an overall business organization and the path they're trying to drive down, it's making sure they're delivering what they're saying they're delivering.
Totally. And getting harnessing all of the value that you can from reviews and recognizing that there's a ton of value in a 4-star review.
So much.
There's a ton of value in a 2-star review, maybe even more value in that 2-star review. If you have the cojones to look at it, absorb it, synthesize it, and do something about it.
Absolutely. I mean, when I look on a comparison here, if I have a 4-star review with no comments, but I have a 2-star review with actual detailed feedback of maybe what went wrong. I mean, yes, I think that 2-star review holds so much value because it's showing you how you can improve. Where it's a 4-star review, I mean, yes, that is great. I mean, your star average is always going to be something that's looked at across the board. But if you find something to help yourself improve, by all means, feedback is a gift, and I will gladly take it.
That plays nicely
comes back. Go ahead.
Sorry,
please.
I was just going to say.
I was going to lead us nicely into our first point.
Wait. I just want to stay here for a minute. I was just going to say this idea of feedback, because typically, like Deena said, reviews are, okay, we want other people to learn all the good stuff about us so that we look really good and people want to buy us. And of course, that's true. But this idea that you're bringing up, Cassie, there's a huge emphasis right now on capturing voice of customer as customer marketers. And so looking at your review strategy as another way to play into your voice of customer strategy, how to synthesize that and then bring back to the organization is a huge value add that goes above and beyond what we typically see with people who are running review strategies. Cassie, you mentioned before, we need to get past the metrics of just number of reviews we've sourced, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I would say that's the most common metric that customer marketers are asked to give, right? The number of reviews, your average star ranking. That's what people want to hear over and over again. But I feel like customer marketers are really cutting themselves short of the value they're providing, because there are ways to track how those reviews are impacting the overall lead gen. So for example, we work really strongly with G2. That's one of our strongest review sources because that's where we find our customers are coming from more often than not. So we do put a lot of emphasis on that particular third-party platform. And it works out in our favor because as you continue to improve your ranking on the site, your ranking overall in a certain category continues to rise. So if you think about your placement on that ranking in G2, it's going to be very similar to a Google search result. The higher you are in that ranking, the more likely you are to get clicks. So the more traffic to your page. And then that same waterfall effect goes where you get more traffic to your page, the more clicks to your website you'll get, the more lead forms you get. And all of that is trackable. So yes, while we want to look at the number of reviews and the star rankings, all customer marketers would be remiss if they are not tracking all of those lead sources from those review sites, because all of that is showing the bottom line impact that your reviews are making, whether that's influence opportunities, brand new direct opportunities, or accelerated opportunities. Those reviews are causing that increase in the ranking, and it's causing the increase in more new traffic. And that's all based on the customer marketer's effort. So I strongly encourage all customer marketers to take the extra step and start tracking all of those steps to make sure it's coming back to what you and your program are really doing.
Nuts and bolts question for you, Cassie,
Yeah.
on this speaking point. With G2, you correct me if I'm wrong, you can have an add-on service from G2 that is like an attribution piece of their software of having reviews generated on their platform. Is there a way to do what you're talking about if you're not subscribed to this attribution piece of
Yes,
G2?
absolutely.
How
So,
do you actually make the connection to leads coming from the platform?
Yes, great question. So a lot of that's going to be based off referral traffic. So if you're using any sort of Google Analytics tracking, you're able to put a UTM code on that actual CTA button itself. So you can track and see how many people are coming to your site and filling out forms directly from that lead source. And then using whatever tool they're using, maybe it's a Salesforce tool to track your opportunities, but you can see that lead is directly tied and influenced by G2 or whatever review source that might be. If anyone's using Trust Radius and other ones, you can use those individually and really track that entire customer journey.
Awesome. Okay, so we were talking about the value of the reviews, and we've talked about going beyond counting the number of reviews, looking at the impact of increasing your rankings, growing in that organic traffic to your review site. And then we also talked about this somewhat newer concept of putting this forward as voice of customer strategy as well. All right, but let's now get to the, where a lot of people are sitting, which is, okay, Cassie, but how do I keep getting reviews? Like,
yes,
I'm assuming to keep my rankings high, to keep my site fresh, I need a steady pouring through of reviews. That can be difficult in B2B because sometimes you only have so many customers. So let's talk about some of the strategies you put in place to meet this problem.
Let's do that. And I'm so glad we're talking about this. And I love the B2B tie too, as well within the title. I didn't get to say that earlier, but from blasé to brilliant, the B2B, I totally noticed the B2B and I absolutely thought that was very clever. So great title. But yes, there are going to be different strategies that when I came into reputation, I really had to break down a couple biases, if you will, where I believe you should ask everybody for reviews. There's going to be that silent majority that sometimes just don't speak up unless you ask them. In today's day and age, customers just expect a fantastic service. That's their expectation. So when they get that, you're delivering their expectations. They think everything's great. It doesn't always occur to them to share their insight. Whereas on the opposite side, if something's wrong, more often than not, people are willing to raise their hand and say, oh, this did not go well. I'm not happy with this XYZ. So thinking that there's all those happy, silent people just aren't raising their hands, that is such an opportunity. So I always have the mindset of ask everyone because you never know just how big that majority is. And I can guarantee it's going to outweigh any of the lower star reviews. So asking everybody overall. And so in B2B, where I think your strongest opportunity is asking your customers where they are. So I started asking our customers in the platform, using our platform pop-ups. I would say pretty occasionally. We ask maybe like once a quarter as a pop-up question, hey, like what's your feedback? And we try to make, seasonal, like it's the season of giving. Please give us your feedback, making it a little fun and cheeky. We're marketers. We have to have some sort of fun twist to it. But just consistently asking across the platform and all of your customers, it's where they are and it's hitting them hopefully when they're in a good experience and they're able to provide you that answer. So we're not going to block out customers that maybe we know aren't having a good experience, or we're not only asking the customers that rated us well from an NPS. I mean, not only is that a very poor practice that no one should ever do. I would strongly discourage anyone from only asking high promoters, but asking everybody, and it's where they are. I did have to face a couple of questions from our internal teams thinking that it might be a poor user experience of interrupting them going to the platform, doing what they're supposed to do. However, eventually over time, showing them the feedback and the benefit of that feedback, we were able to change their perspective quite a bit. But making sure you're in the platform, asking where they are. I think just like you mentioned too, we don't want to over inundate our customers, right? But we are in B2B. And more often than not, everyone listening to this call might be working on a software platform. And if you're working on some sort of oh my goodness, I'm getting too excited here, a software tech platform, more often than not, your product is consistently changing, right? Whether that's on a 2-week sprint or perhaps a little longer, your product is consistently changing. So as that product's consistently changing, you want to make sure that your customers are still seeing the value of what you're providing. So there's no reason you should be afraid to ask a customer more than once for their feedback, especially if it's been 6 months. Your product might have gone through 4 or 5 different iterations. Is the product still delivering what you're hoping is to deliver? So there is absolutely nothing wrong with asking consistently, especially for some customer marketers. If you're looking to really focus on your review spread and maybe you want to focus on a few different review sites, think of your quarterly strategy and maybe pick a different platform per quarter. That way you're still getting your reviews out there everywhere you need to be. But there's nothing wrong with asking everyone for that feedback and meeting them where they are.
Oh, I love this. You've hit on 2 like real hot buttons for me personally.
Yeah.
One, just ask. The worst that someone can say is no. Like the worst is that they just don't click through. The idea of, really kind of like the over asking, the inundation of the customer. I'm not sure that there are a lot of facts to support that. If there are, I would love someone to post them. I'd love to read them and understand them, because from where I sit, if you ask me one too many times, I'm probably just not going to read the email or open it or click through or whatever the action is. The second piece here that I want to sit on just for a moment is around the very common practice of gating your review asks to be visible only to your NPS promoters. So I get it. We understand that it's good to have that scope of voice of customer. As someone who reads reviews, you want to see a mix of experience. That's a really tough sell back into the leadership of most companies to say, hey, we're just going to go to everyone and we're going to probably get some 1, 2, and 3, and maybe even, God forbid, 4-star reviews in there. That's a really tough sell. So what are the speaking points back into the business to the leadership who say, we don't want this having any possibility of touching anyone that's unhappy with us?
Oh my goodness. Well, maybe it's because we're really good with social media as marketers. We know that you can't please everybody first and foremost.
Yes.
But I know you probably would never say that in a boardroom. That would just get you shown to the door right away.
Yeah.
But it actually is an illegal practice to gate your reviews like that. It is an illegal practice. So I think from a customer marketer standpoint, it is our role to try and automate as much as we can. Putting something in the platform to reach the widest spread of customers you can, that is something that we can automate and fulfill. Now, we do have certain links that our field team can use. So say they go and complete a really successful QBR or a great customer visit, and they want to give an individual link. By all means, that is a friendly, personal touch that they are more than welcome to give at any instance that they see fit. And we make sure to equip our field team with those tools. However, as customer marketers, the only way we can achieve getting our review generation along with all the other hats we wear is to automate as much as we can. So looking at in the platform and reviewing that spread is going to be our best route to increase overall, because the outcome is going to be more positive than negative. I can guarantee that every single time. But this is where I'd really challenge your boardroom or your execs to think, okay, so what if we do get that 2-star review? And what if it does come with all of these really great insights that we can use to better ourselves?
Right.
Think of the benefit it can get. And also, let's close that loop. So we get that 2-star review with this feedback now. Well, let's fix it. Let's do what we can. Let's fix that issue and then come back to that customer 6 months, 12 months later and ask them to update. Because I think there is no better win. Like, I get that little spark of joy in me when you can get a customer to update their review from a 2-star to a 4-star. That feels so dang good. We're like, hey, we did something. We made an impact. We actually improved this whole experience for this customer. So it's focusing on that constant evolution, that constant involvement to make yourselves better.
And the tech space is so crowded, and I think we all know there is a platform that can do what you do, and customer experience is becoming more and more a huge differentiator. I would say I would tend to feel more optimistic about an organization where I see a lot of reviews, good and bad, where the company is addressing as able most of those, at least some kind of response, some kind of interaction, rather than here's a bunch of 5-star reviews, there's no company interaction. I'm really skeptical of that. anyway, because we do know what goes on behind the curtain. We do know how you get 5-star reviews and how you incentivize those. Our personal world and how we interact with social media are very, very pertinent to how we view our business interactions as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I always just think, like, put yourself in the shoes of your buyer. What would you possibly think is going on here? And that's a good rule of thumb to keep in mind.
I love that. And that's so true because it humanizes a brand, right? Nobody's perfect, but this puts that human element behind it. And it really helps accelerate that personality-led growth that more and more companies are now growing into. Where, yes, we have that customer-led growth and personality-led growth of a business where you have to show your true self as a brand. You have to show that, sure, we're not perfect, but we're going to work our best to get it right. And that's what is really the reality, but that's the kind of partner that someone wants to partner with, someone that's working towards that constant improvement.
And at the end of the day, having that more realistic spread of reviews, doesn't that actually help us get better fit customers? If you're showing the full scope of the reality of what it is to be a customer or use this platform or whatever it may be, you're helping people to decide if they're a good fit for you. If you're painting that, 5-star only picture through your own targeting and segmentation, then maybe, bad
Wow,
fit
that would be
customers
such an
could come in the
interesting
door.
metric, Deena, is like change of top of funnel conversions to the next step of your sales cycle. Do we see improvement when we do let more reviews come through? That's a very interesting topic. I have a question, Cassie, from a listener. And so I'm going to ask you this. I know that we're about to get into your story. You're here because you did something pretty unique around getting customer reviews. And so we're about to tell that story here together. So that's a specific tactic that we're going to get into. But there is a question from the audience. Where do you see the most engagement or highest response rate? Is it those platform pop-ups? Is it emails? Is it the CSM or account teams reaching out? What do you think has been the most effective?
Okay, so for most effective, if we're looking at response rate and actually completing that review, honestly, equipping your field team and having that personal ask is a very, very strong completion rate. Now, a very strong completion rate, you might only get those 2-3 times per month. But now if I put it in the platform and I'm asking everyone in totality, I'm getting a much stronger result of number of reviews after that generation. And more often than not, it's actually a higher star average too, because you get the average of all those people, that unspoken majority. So I would say go ahead and ask everybody in the platform and automate as much as possible. And that's going to get you the most impact in return.
And then another thing to think about that we'll throw out there, because Deena and I have been talking a lot about alignment to the life cycle, is also thinking about when that automation can occur.
Right.
Cassie talked about seasonally in different quarters. There also could be an aspect of when is the right time to ask for a review. When is it pertinent to get that feedback? That's something we can tie to the life cycle, either through your CSP platform or your product milestone adoption, and building some of that into it as well.
Yes. Another strategy I'd love to share on that automation too, that if your platform set up and enables you, we typically love to send out a review about 3 months before the renewal process, because it's such a great way to gauge a customer's sentiment going into that renewal season. But far enough out where it's not clearly, hey, do you think you're going to renew with us? It's let's see how you're feeling right now. And then depending on that review, it's a really great tool that our sales team can take and understand where our customers are sitting before they even go into that conversation. So that's one automation we really love to put in place.
Cassie, I love that. How is your team then, though, keeping track of, okay, someone that was part of the workflow, they left a review. How are you staying aware of that so that you can send that on to the CSM team?
Thank goodness for integrations. So I feel like I'm speaking about G2 quite a bit, but luckily G2 does have a couple of Slack integrations where you can see when you get a review coming in, that does feed back to your teams, and it can tag the appropriately field members as well, so they can see when those great reviews are coming in. I also love it too, because I know we're all familiar with, it's like Jimmy Kimmel's like mean tweets, but it's the opposite of that. So when like the nice reviews come in, you get to tag the people that, were part of the reason you got that review. And it always makes our team feel so good when they get to read the positive reviews, especially when they're mentioned. It's just such a great feel good moment.
Oh my gosh. Internal awareness is like around the reviews is like a whole other topic, and we could go into the voice of the customer, but I love that you just said that. But let's get to your story, which is this wonderful campaign that you ran. at Reputation for specifically garnering reviews. Did not want to do a tired old approach to getting reviews, so you did something really out of the box. So Cassie, tell us your story.
Yes. So, to bring it back with Reputation, we are all about customer feedback and encouraging our customers to get feedback from their customers. So, as a customer marketer, we want reviews. But I figure what better way to get my customers to understand how powerful reviews are than to equip them to get reviews from their own customers, right? And so, crazy idea. We decided to establish a national holiday for National Leave a Review Day. It is in the National Day Archives. It's official that June 8th is now and forever National Leave a Review Day. And so we introduced this new holiday at our annual event in April. So our customers had about 2 months to learn about it, prepare themselves. And thank goodness for my amazing creative team. Like, they are just the most fantastic humans. Got our whole website put together and made an entire toolkit for our customers to use. And most of our customers are going to be multi-location, so physical store locations. And so they equipped lots of good in-store signage, got some email copies, some email templates for them to use and send out to their own customers. So really, we decided to frame this whole day versus trying to generate reviews for ourselves, but generating reviews for our customers and equipping them to get that feedback that they needed. And we just got such great feedback on it where, of course, some of our customers saw some really great star ranking increases. Some of our customers saw really great increases on Glassdoor because their focus was more on getting employee generation. So they're able to focus on the reviews for them employees to increase their Glassdoor review to get some more, good new talent coming in. And then, of course, we wanted to drink our own champagne. And we also did a nice review generation strategy that day, too, where we emailed and asked for reviews. And we saw our own G2 status actually increase from the holidays. So it was just a win-win-win all around. And yeah, it was crazy out of the box idea. And we just ran with it. And I'm very thankful to have a team that supported a crazy idea. And now June 8th is going to be National Leave Review Day. So you have about 6-7 months to prepare.
Crazy ideas. You need to have the right environment and the right people around you to let those ideas come to fruition. And oftentimes what the seed of that crazy idea becomes something else that is just even more brilliant than the initial kind of passing thought. But having that safe space to say, hey, what if we got an official day for reviews? Having the people in that space to say, I think that's a great idea is wonderful and such a great story.
What's so great about this story, Cassie, is that you have to figure out the value proposition in anything that we do for your audience. And so, like you said, instead of focusing on just the value back to Reputation, you really thought about what would motivate your audience as a whole and bring value, equivalent value back to them. That's a pretty brilliant move. That's typically in campaigns type of formatting. The incentive tends to be physical or instant or something a little bit more tactical in nature. But you actually put together something that brought a lot of business impact. So it's much easier ask for them to go internally as well to their organization, because this is a huge value for their leaders to have that conversation, which I think is so smart. I mean, it's like thinking out of the box, but really it's just thinking how we should be thinking, which is what's the equivalent or exceeding value that this will bring to the person on the other end, not weighted so off balance, which campaigns can be, which is, of course, the main value is back to you and your organization.
Exactly. Isn't that what being customer obsessed is all about? It's actually being customer centric and focusing on giving more than you're getting. That maybe it's a season of giving. It's the holiday season. Maybe that's why it's top of mind. But it's like, let's just give our customers as much as we can and support them as much as we can to show them our appreciation.
Is this something that you think that other SaaS companies should now be jumping on?
Well, my goodness, of course. I mean, it's a national holiday. Like, yes, we got to start it, but it's for everybody. Like, everyone should enjoy this national holiday and get this feedback. I mean, just like we've been talking over the past 30 minutes, and I think we could talk for hours just about how valuable feedback is and reviews are. Yes, everybody jump on the bandwagon. Like, let's go. It's going to be the second year. It's going to be even bigger. And I'm just excited to watch the traction grow,
Yeah, that's amazing. So if someone wanted to jump on this bandwagon, Cassie, so it's National Leave a Review Day on June 8th. And go a little bit deeper into what would they need to enable their customers with? How did you get the word out to them? What were the channels that you used? How did you identify your champions who would be willing to go do this?
Yes, absolutely. So we really leaned into our influencer marketing. So we found some great influencers in the tech space that we thought would be great to help promote the holiday. We leaned into some different podcasts. I know Blake Morgan's a big customer experience podcaster, so we leaned into her and got her expertise in there. And of course, we partnered with G2 as well to help get their G2, help get their both their in thoughts too. I mean, their input's so valuable, and so to lean in and use their expertise. And then, of course, we tried to reach out to our customer advisory board, talk to them, get their opinions, how to spread out the news. And then we created the website with all of the different elements that they could possibly need. So any social promotions that they would want to take and use as templates, or emails that they would want to take and use as templates, physical letters they'd want to take and use. And we also try to lean into different cities. So looking at the different communities and talking about the small business, like how this could really impact like small to medium-sized businesses, leaning into them. But we have a whole website ready to go to if anyone wants to visit. It's reputation.nationalleavereviewday.com, and they can access the entire toolkit as well. But leaning into again, ask everybody, lean into your full customer base and just ask for the review and show them how they can benefit as well.
So, and then what did you, like as far as on that day, making sure you also got reviews?
Yes.
What did you do, Cassie?
Yeah, so we did our in-platform pop-up specific for National Leave Review Day. We had a nice celebratory post and we were so pumped about it and asked to celebrate along with us. We did some fun in-office celebrations too, where we had some of our field team members reach out to their customers specifically for that one-on-one touch, celebrating the holiday, asking how they were celebrating, asking for a review. And then we also did email our primary accounts, our primary customers on our accounts, telling them that we're celebrating the holiday and asking for that review as well.
Love it. This has been great. And like you said, we could continue talking for forever about reviews.
Yes.
If you are listening to this and you haven't connected yet with Cassie, I'm sure she would be happy to connect with you online. That's Cassie Snead. And answer questions here and there about reviews and how she has been able to really up-level that and some of the impact. Real quick, before we go, Cassie.
Yes.
The impact. So since you've been doing this, at Reputation, what has the impact been?
Oh my goodness. Well, we were so pleased. Our review generation went up like crazy, of course, but after National Leave Review Day, we did earn the #1 spot in 2 different G2 categories for online reputation management and experience management, which was so amazing. And to tie the whole loop back, like we were saying, we did get that #1 spot, but at the same time, we also saw an increase in leads coming from G2, which led to some really great opportunities for the company that we were just so pleased to see that entire circle being closed, where we were able to see the whole impact. And of course, when you're in that boardroom, that's what they care about. That's what they want to see. So you say, hey, I want to ask everybody, this is what it brings. And they see the dollar amount, they tie that to the actual business outcome. Every door opens up.
Love it. Awesome. Great conversation today. I feel like we could do a part 2 with this, and reputation.nationalleavereviewday.com is where to go to find some resources. If this sounds like a good hook for you and your business and getting some reviews, then go check it out. Cassie, thank you so much for spending your time with us here today, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Deena, Liz. Thank you. This is my pleasure. This was wonderful. Happy holidays, guys.
Thank you, Cassie. Bye, everyone.